2.
Good morning, I'm Alex King.
And I'm Melina Brown. Nathan is off today.
And here are 3 quick stories to get your day started. Mark your calendars. Taco and Nacho Fest is coming to Austin Landing on Saturday, August 24th. You can go out and enjoy some delicious food, live music, and a fully stocked beer garden all day long.
Of all the festivals we've talked about this week, I've got to say,
Taco and Nacho Fest. Can't go wrong with that.
I think this one might take the cake.
I agree. There's going to be fireworks to end the night. It's free to attend.
Tequila samples. Yeah,
Fun.
And say hello to the Boone Shop's newest animal ambassador. This is Ted the Virginia Possum. He's now almost 5 months old, and he went on his first dress rehearsal for museum staff last week.
This is so cute. So he was working on voluntarily going in and out of his crate to prepare for his official debut as an animal ambassador.
He's adorable.
And according to staff, he did great. So
people, they get a bad rap.
So cute. They're so cute.
They're literally adorable. They get such a bad rap.
I know. It makes me sad. And cue the flannels and pumpkin spice lattes. Some Buckeye leaves were spotted changing at Carriage Hill Metro Park. So whether you are ready for fall or want to savor the last bit of summer, there are all kinds of outdoor special events and programs throughout our local parks that you won't want to miss.
The only thing I didn't like about this was pumpkin spice. The rest of it, ooh, I love it. I can't wait.
I am trying to savor what's left of summer, so
give it up.
You can stay over there with your excitement.
It's over.
You're taking a live look over the Miami Valley thanks to Skycams. We are waking up to yet another warm day.
Unfortunately, we are, Alex. No,
it's still not too bad out there.
It's not at all. And like you said, we have to savor it because before we know it, it will be cold. It's going to go from hot to cold. There's not going to be those, well, hopefully there will be some perfect days. But I think Nick's going to give us a better look at what things are going to look like this week.
You know, it's funny because everybody always says, oh, there was no spring or no fall. And I look at it and I always go, well, what about this week? What about that week? What about this week? I think it's that we forget how nice it was for those weeks that ends. And it's more or less the days where it's really hot or really humid. And speaking of hot and humid, we do have a day like that today. It is off to a cooler start. So we did have somewhat of a cooler air mass move in for this morning. The difference is that we do expect it to bounce back up. The dew points themselves right now are in the low to mid 60s. We do have temperatures today eventually getting into this mid to upper 80s. We're pointing out this last truly hot day, though, we are going to see temperatures fall all the way back into the upper 70s. So a much more comfortable air mass in play, especially if you want to get things done outside. On the other hand, for those that are savoring summer, you know, it's not like we're going to see summer end anytime shortly. I do expect there to be some periods where it is going to be in the 80s next week. Now, meanwhile, if you're traveling, right for now, things are moving smoothly out on the interstates and state roads.
Roads there were shut down as police worked.
We're working to learn more about this incident and we'll continue to update you on air and online. The man you see here has been arrested after police say he trespassed at Springboro High School. 26-year-old Eli Hudkins, a former student, showed up at the district's central office despite being recently issued a letter of no trespass by the district in May due to erratic phone calls and behavior. He asked to speak with a staff member. That's when the district immediately locked the building down, called 911, and contacted school resource officers. That's when Hudkins left the central office and drove to the EduCare building where police arrested him. No one was hurt and Hudkins never interacted with students. Taking a look now at the Warren County Jail's website, you can see Hudkins is in custody. He's been charged with telecommunications harassment, criminal trespass, and obstructing official business. He'll be arraigned at 9 this morning. The district released a statement saying in part, quote, "Our administration is meeting with Chief Bentley, the Springboro Police Department, as well as the district crisis team to discuss further safety precautions going forward. Here at Springboro Schools, we appreciate the willingness of our staff who immediately alerted the Springboro Police Department as well as necessary personnel to feel confident in following and see something, say something mentality. If you have any questions or concerns on the matter or about student safety, you can go to the district student safety reporting site at springboro.com. Just click on see something, say something in the top right corner. This man has been indicted in April's deadly crash near Dayton International Airport. 26-year-old Clayton Hughes was extradited to Ohio from New Jersey and is now behind bars in the Montgomery County Jail. He's charged with 12 counts, including aggravated vehicular homicide, failure to stop after accident, and OVI. The investigation found Hughes rear-ended a car on I-70 and drove away before hitting a van at the intersection of Terminal Road and Boeing Drive. All 4 people that were in the van were killed. Troopers say speed and alcohol are major factors in the crash, and that Hughes was at fault of the driver. The wife of one of the 4 victims is now suing Hughes on a $10 million wrongful death lawsuit. A Butler County man could spend life in prison after being accused of raping a child, and investigators are concerned that there's more victims. 32-year-old Kyle Plummer was arrested Monday on 2 counts of rape. Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones says that the Tennessee Department of Children's Services told them Plummer may have been sexually assaulting a 5-year-old family member. Investigators believe the abuse took place in both Butler County and Tennessee. Court documents say Plummer told the victim not to tell anyone and bribed her with a nicotine vape pen.
It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It's disgusting. And as you can tell, I'm very angry about it. This is not the end of the charges here, and this is not the end of the charges in Tennessee.
Sheriff Jones says investigators don't have evidence of more victims right now, but they're not ruling it out. Plummer is being held in the Butler County Jail on a $500,000 bond. Attorney General Dave Yost announcing Ohio's first ever nationwide trafficking hotline. This number will go live later this year. It's 844 end of HHT. Yost says it will replace the national number and will send tips of suspected sex and labor trafficking directly to law enforcement. He says the human trafficking problem in Ohio has been evolved from denial and ignorance to a battle on multiple fronts. Yost adds several victims of human trafficking are now taking leadership roles and trying to end it.
Well, it's been pretty organic. A lot of these folks have been fighting since the early 2000s against human trafficking. And as word gets out, this happens in the shadows. This isn't happening, out in the sunshine. It's not part of, people don't have press conferences about it.
The announcement came yesterday as part of the 5th annual Human Trafficking Summit in downtown Columbus. The hotline is expected to be launched after Labor Day.
Washington Township is now looking to grow the community with plans to build 26 single-family homes on the corner of East Social Row and Gabbert Roads.
Kasha Hancock caught up with the township. She joins us now with more about the development.
When I spoke to the township, they tell me each home will be averaging to about 5,000 square feet, and the entire development is approximately 70 acres. They tell me the idea came from a private developer who was actually constructing their own home on one of the lots, which is the first stage of the plan that has been approved, which changed the zoning from agricultural to residential. Now the private developer would like to have more homes built, but in order for the construction of the other 25 homes to take place, the developer must go through one more round of approval from the zoning commission. The township is on board, saying this development will be beneficial to the community.
The development of a hiker-biker trail connecting all the single-family homes, both in this development and across the street from Social Row to Oak Grove Park. I think so we're compounding both open space, pedestrian connectivity, as well as providing low-density development.
Now the township tells me it could be 2 to 3 months before the second half of the plan gets approved, and we'll be sure to keep you updated on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Our time right now is 5:09. Don't forget, you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather right here on the side of the screen all morning long, even during commercials.
Tropical storm Debbie has just made its second landfall in the U.S. Coming up, what officials are saying it may be on the way in its wake.
You're watching Your Day.
Now, our biggest announcement, we will be back.
In just the last couple of hours, Tropical Storm Debbie has made its second landfall in the U.S., this time in South Carolina. It's set to unleash more torrential rains, tornadoes, and destructive flooding as it moves north, tracked to move into North Carolina by this evening. Debbie hit Florida as a Category 1 hurricane Monday, killing at least 5 people and dumping more than a foot of rain over Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. The Biden administration has now deployed more than 700 FEMA staff members and federal partners to the southeast.
White House Press Secretary Greene Jean-Pierre says President Biden and his team are closely monitoring the storm.
FEMA's National Response Coordination Center here in Washington and their Regional Response Coordination Center in Atlanta remain activated to further support the local response and coordinate federal efforts.
Search and rescue teams and swift water rescue assets are also ready to help as needed. The White House says FEMA has delivered more than 1 million meals and nearly 1.5 million liters of water to Florida, with additional supplies on the way now.
All right, well, here's what we're looking at for this morning. A somewhat quiet start all day today. Should be relatively quiet. The only period of any type of concern, maybe afternoon and evening across the far eastern part of our area. That is where the real fringes of the moisture from what's left of Debbie continues to move into Ohio. It may be enough for a stray shower in, let's say, the Xenia, Springfield, Wilmington area, but once you get west of Dayton, realistically, we're not going to see much, if anything, other than some clouds. Clouds continue through parts of overnight, should exit out of the area for tomorrow. Tomorrow, the big storyline is going to be the drier, cooler push of air. Today, the last truly great pool day. You know what? Let me rephrase that. Today, the last day where I think that the pool forecast is certainly in play, mid to upper 80s. I do think tomorrow should be also in the 80s. The difference is, again, it'll be a drier air mass. So today, you'll need the pool. Tomorrow, you can enjoy the pool. It just may not be maybe as needed. For Saturday and Sunday, it's upper 70s. Some of the overnight lows will drop all the way down into the 50s, and we could actually see some maybe mid 50s, low 50s for either Sunday or Monday morning. Of course, the kids go back to school, at least some school districts, as we get into next week. Those temperatures should be back into the mid 80s. On the roads this morning, so far, it's been relatively quiet morning commute. We do have one pulled over semi cab there in between 70 and 75. That's not blocking anything as the camera pins around on the Austin Boulevard area. Not seeing any traffic in that direction either.
Federal prosecutors are now accusing Hunter Biden of once agreeing to foreign lobbying. New court filings yesterday allege Hunter Biden agreed to lobby United States officials on behalf of Romanian businessmen. The latest accusations stem from special counsel David Weiss. He's prosecuting Hunter Biden for alleged tax evasion. Weiss claims that Hunter did reach out to government officials, even though prosecutors did not go into detail about those communications. Hunter's team denies those claims. Prosecutors also want to introduce new testimony about the alleged lobbying agreement as evidence in the tax case. Hunter has pleaded not guilty to the charges. That trial is set to begin in September. So far, Hunter hasn't been charged with any foreign lobbying crimes. The 54-year-old president's son was also convicted of 3 gun felonies in a separate criminal case. That trial is set to begin in November.
Our time right now is 5:17.
A new warning from the Food and Drug Administration about some over-the-counter products that many of us are putting on our faces. I'm Liz Bonus. Why they want us to know about a risk for injury just ahead.
You're watching Your Day.
Your Place, Inside and Out, is sponsored by All Seal Home Improvement.
When it comes to cleaning your home, we all have a list of chores we loathe, whether it's laundry, dishes, you get the gist. One that gets me is window cleaning, especially because I have children and animals. So today we have some basic window cleaning tips. To start the cleaning solution, if you don't have a good store-bought kind, there are really good DIY solutions you can find online. Now, while you would think cleaning windows on a sunny day is a good idea, the sun can actually create a glare, and the glass can also dry the solution quicker, ultimately leaving those streaks. And then finally, I found that using a microfiber cloth can be a game changer. If you ever need a hand when it comes to home improvement, we have professionals who are here for you.
Thank you, All Seal, for providing a wide product selection of windows, doors, awnings, siding, and patio rooms at competitive prices. The installation process was seamless, and I love my updated home.
Call today or visit one of our showrooms. All Seal, quality driven, veteran run.
Take Dayton 24/7 Now News with
All right, time for Pet of the Day, and we have shown you some interesting pets over the years. Of course, you know, not everyone is a cat and dog person, and today we've got a snake. I'll double check because I think the last time I showed you this, I may have messed it up. I believe this is a corn snake, so I'll go ahead and double check it. Either way, it is non-venomous for all those that are worried, and it can make excellent rodent patrol, especially if you do find snakes out in the wild near your place, with the exception of maybe a copperhead. They really, really will do no harm to you. As for today, temperatures 70s giving way to 80s. It's going to be a hot and humid day overall. Maybe not the worst day that we've ever seen, but certainly very much so a summer day as well. We will get some clouds. I think it may be even turning mostly cloudy at times during the afternoon, especially further east you go. In terms of our weather, Dayton and points west, probably going to be a little bit more sunshine mixing in. On the roads this morning, well, right for now, everything seems to be moving okay with the exception of one incident now, I-75 south. That is where the right lane is currently closed. That due to some road construction. That's between Edwin C. Moses and the greater Springboro Pike area. If you're traveling right this second, you'll probably notice a couple lanes shut down and maybe just a little bit of slow moving traffic. Does seem like it's not that bothered though at this hour.
There are two class action lawsuits centered around General Mills Cocoa Puff cereal. One is filed in Minnesota and a separate one in California. The suits claim the cereal has dangerously high levels of lead. Now, this is according to Fortune, which says the California suit alleges 1 cup serving of Cocoa Puffs has 0.4 micrograms, which is just under the state's maximum limit of lead. There's a deadly listeria outbreak from deli meat and cheese company Boar's Head, in which more than 7 million pounds of its products were recalled. Now, the company is facing a new possible class action lawsuit in New York, alleging it improperly, deceptively, and misleadingly labeled and marketed its products. The CDC says Boarhead products sickened 34 people in 13 states and sent at least 33 people to the hospital. 2 people have died. This is on top of another class action suit filed in Missouri against Boar's Head. And a national survey found promising signs that key mental health measures for teens, especially girls, have improved since the depths of the pandemic. 53% of girls reported extreme depressive symptoms in 2023. That's down from 57% in 2021. For comparison, just 28% of teenage boys felt persistent sadness, about the same as 2021. Suicide risk among girls stayed roughly the same as the last survey, but black students who reported troubling increases in suicide attempts in 2021 reported significantly fewer in 2023. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King. Here's your health.
They're used for everything from acne treatments to removing topical skin cancers. But now the FDA is warning, do not do your own chemical peel at home. Medical reporter Liz Bonus shares why they are both warning buyers and sellers that these products should not be used without proper medical supervision.
Hey there, hello to you. So many of us are in search of the secret to eternal youth and wrinkle-free or blemish-free skin that we're tempted to turn to some of these over-the-counter chemical peel products. But the FDA has issued this warning because they have the potential to cause serious injury. If you go online, there are dozens of videos showing some of those injuries.
It's become very popular for people to order these products online.
Dr. Elizabeth Munich of Ohio's Dermatology and Skincare Associates offers chemical peels as part of her practice. But she says if the chemicals used are not carefully balanced for each person's skin,
you can cause some severe side effects that can be permanent. You can cause scarring, you can cause chemical burns, and these are very difficult to treat.
The FDA warns against using any of these products. It says they contain ingredients such as TCA, or trichloroacetic acid, glycolic acid, salicylic acid, and lactic acid in varying concentrations. These are too high, they say, to be safely used at home without supervision by a dermatologist or other licensed trained practitioner.
Some of the acids that you can order need to be neutralized. They might not have the right neutralizing agent. If you don't know what you're doing and you assume, oh, I can do this at home, people don't realize that they can really get into trouble quickly.
Now, much of what drives this is cost. It can range from several $100s up to $1,000 to get a professional treatment or chemical peel. But getting it corrected could be very costly too. And what's more is that the look of the injury may stick around for a long time. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
The CDC now issuing an alert to doctors about a more severe strain of Mpox. That strain is currently spreading in Africa. According to two health officials, the Democratic Republic of Congo has reported the most cases, but it has spread to some neighboring countries. The World Health Organization says an emergency committee will meet soon to determine if the outbreak should be declared a global public health emergency. The CDC says no cases of the strain have been reported outside Central and Eastern Africa, and the risk that it will be brought to the U.S. is low.
A string of 13 straight months of new average heat records came to an end this past July. That's according to the European Climate Agency, Copernicus, Copernicus, thank you, sorry, which attributes the broken streak to El Nino weather patterns winding down. Still, the organization's deputy director warns temperatures in July were hotter than the 30-year average for the month. July also saw the planet's 2 hottest days ever documented, and at one point, roughly 1/3 of the U.S. population was under heat warnings. I should have known that.
Words are hard. Our time right now is 5:28. The ACLU of Ohio appealing a ruling that allows House Bill 68 to go into effect. Hear from a transgender teen and the state attorney general on how this affects minors.
You're watching Your Day.
In today's Tech Bites, YouTube possibly rolling out
I'm Alex King.
And I'm Melina Brown. Nathan is off today.
And here are 3 quick stories to get your day started. After setting a European record in the 3,000-meter steeplechase at this year's Olympics in Paris, a French athlete rushed over to the stands and proposed to her longtime boyfriend. I saw this on social media. It's so cute. You can tell how happy and excited they are.
This is so sweet.
And the guy, so it's not this guy, it's this guy back here. And he's just so, look how happy they are.
This is precious.
So precious. Love to see it.
That's really cute. And speaking of the Olympics, former gold medalist Shawn Johnson is showing that she's still got it, sharing this video on TikTok of a perfect dismount onto her couch. We are having some difficulties today.
We are. You know what? It's almost the end of the week.
Here we go.
There we go.
She's incredible. I remember watching her when I was
I know.
younger.
She still has like such a athletic body. Like, it's girl, I feel that.
Me, actually.
And Airbnb has built a life-size Polly Pocket House in honor of the doll's 35th birthday. The two-story slumber party fun compact in Littleton, Massachusetts comes complete with Polly's replica wardrobe, vanity with accessories, and even 90s snacks for a slumber party dream come true. This would be such a fun idea for a bachelorette.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
So now we have a Polly Pocket House and a Barbie house.
What more do I need? Maybe a Bratz house? I don't know, but I'm loving
It's actually
all of
so
this.
cute.
But wait, is it like it's outdoor though?
All open? I don't know. That's confusing.
I don't think you can actually stay here. Maybe it's just like to come take pictures and stuff.
No, I mean, it's an Airbnb.
But what if it rains?
I don't know. We have questions. All right, you're taking a live look over the Miami Valley thanks to Skycams. We're waking up to yet another warm day.
Yes, we are. But it wasn't too bad yesterday. I will say when I went out yesterday, I was like, you know, it's a little break from that like heat.
Yeah, it's been pulling up a little bit.
But it could be the last hot day for a while. Let's send things over to meteorologist Nick Maruziak.
All right, well, temperatures are off of yesterday's temperatures by a handful of degrees. We're in the low to mid 60s pretty much across the board. Part of the reason is it's not quite as humid. Now, there's still plenty of humidity in the air, but again, we're not talking about that deep-seated humidity. We will be looking at a day where we should be able to get mid to upper 80s. This is the last above average day that we're going to see here for probably at bare minimum 4 or 5 days, but maybe even a week or two. We are going to be looking at generally sunny weather west of Dayton, east of Dayton, probably a mix of sun and clouds. Again, last hot day, despite the fact that we have a north wind. Tomorrow does turn 5 degrees cooler, and then from there, the weekend stays in the upper 70s. Now, if you are traveling this morning, here's what you need to know. Right for now, things are moving smoothly out on the interstates and the state roads.
CBS yesterday dropping snippets from President Joe Biden's first interview since ending his bid for re-election. In it, he says he's not confident that there will be a peaceful transfer of power should Donald Trump lose.
I'm not confident at all. He means what he says. We don't take him seriously. He means it. All the stuff about if we lose, there'll be a bloodbath.
Biden referring to comments Trump made at an Ohio campaign rally in March, where the former president warned of a bloodbath if he fails to unseat Biden. At the time, Biden's campaign and other Democrats characterized the phrase as a call for violence. Meanwhile, Trump and his allies said he was referring to an economic fallout. The full interview will air on CBS News this weekend.
Meanwhile, both vice presidential nominees are saying they want to debate. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz told supporters at a rally in Wisconsin yesterday he's excited to debate GOP VP nominee J.D. Vance, calling the Republican team weird. Senator Vance was also in Wisconsin yesterday and blasted Walz for record as a governor.
What I observed, and you've observed about these guys when you see them, that it's a very clear thing. Yes, they are creepy and weird as hell.
If there's a single issue around which I think Governor Walz has to answer when it comes to his record, this is a guy who says that he stands for public safety, but actively encouraged the rioters who burned down Minneapolis.
No date has been set yet for a vice presidential debate.
The White House now defending the Minnesota governor after the Democratic vice presidential nominee faced criticism from Senator J.D. Vance. Vance accuses Walz of dodging his military service and misleading the public about his military career. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says that she can't speak to any specific attacks, but overall Walz's record speaks for itself.
When Tim Walz was asked by his country to go to Iraq, you know what he did? He dropped out of the Army and allowed his unit to go without him.
This is someone who enlisted at 17 years old to serve his country. He was part of the Army National Guard for 24 years. This is someone who was a high school teacher, right? A high school coach as well.
Walz ended his 24 military career to run for Congress in 2005. About 2 months before the unit he led received alert orders to deploy to Iraq. Vance served 4 years in the Marine Corps. According to his military record, he deployed once to Iraq for about 6 months.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris and her newly minted running mate rounding out a Midwest campaign swing yesterday with a rally in Michigan. The visit comes amid growing support for the Democratic ticket, with Harris's campaign raking in more than $36 million in donations since announcing Walz as her running mate. Despite this, Harris is still battling pushback over the Biden administration's handling of the war in Gaza. Here's her response to a group of protesters yelling genocide during her speech.
He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Michigan is home to one of the nation's largest Arab American communities, and frustrations over Biden's support for Israel promoted some 100,000 people there to vote uncommitted against the president during the state's Democratic primary this year.
We now know this morning that the ACLU of Ohio has appealed the ruling that House Bill 68 can go into effect immediately. That's the law banning minors from receiving gender-affirming care, surgeries, and hormone therapies. It also prohibits transgender athletes from taking part in girls' and women's sports. A transgender teen who says he benefited from hormone therapy is disappointed by the court's decision.
Anything with the backlash of just you being you is gonna hurt, and it has, not only for me but for more people. We just want to live our lives, but instead we have to worry about fighting to live those lives. It's a strange cycle that we shouldn't have to live through.
Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost applauded the court's ruling, saying it protects our youth.
I think the court got it right. This is not an anti-trans bill. This is simply protection against irreversible changes, irrevocable decisions for children.
Yost says lawmakers in other states have eyes on this decision right now, but he adds it doesn't create a significant precedent since it's only specific to Ohio.
Congressman Mike Turner joining Springfield city officials to talk about ways to address the growing Haitian migrant population in the area. An estimated 10,000 Haitian immigrants have moved into the Springfield area. Turner says it's leading to financial and health challenges for the city's resources, and that they are looking for solutions for existing and new residents.
We have already been to agencies in Washington with bringing the mayor in to talk about existing grant programs. They've acknowledged that there are no existing sources. So we are now looking together as a team, where can we find areas where they can get aid and assistance? And the governor is doing the same on the state level.
Turner says federal funding for these kinds of situations is scarce, but he'll keep looking for grants moving forward.
Our time right now is 5:39. Don't forget, you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of the screen all morning long, even during commercials.
Today marks the first anniversary of the deadly Maui wildfires. A look at where things stand 1 year later.
And Delta passengers impacted by last month's CrowdStrike outage suing the airline. What the class action lawsuit is accusing the company of.
You're watching Your Day.
The exclusive Watson's Weather Patio, sponsored by
Ohio.
Dayton Commission members deciding against putting a levy on November's ballot that would help fund a new public hospital on the west side of Dayton.
Janelle Borick joins us now from City Hall and explains why this went to the commission.
Community members got voters to sign a petition for a ballot initiative, but without the required number of signatures, the commission has to vote whether or not to put the initiative in voters' hands. On Wednesday, they voted not to. Bishop Richard Cox explained what the community was asking from the commissioners Wednesday night.
We're here to encourage those commissioners and the mayor to take a realistic look at the people who are underinsured, the people who are indigent, the people who are poor, the people who need health care.
Julie Sullivan from the Dayton Development Coalition says it would have a negative impact.
Cost of health care is a factor that companies consider in their site selection process. An increase in these costs would have a negative impact on our ability to continue to grow the region's economy through company expansions and attraction of new investment.
The initiative will not be on November's ballot, so if it's ever going to be in voters' hands, it will not be until another election. Back to you.
Today marks 1 year since the Maui fire wiped out the historic town of Lahaina. More than 3,000 families were displaced and many remain homeless as houses destroyed in the fire have yet to be rebuilt. Now a $4 million project by Hawaii's Department of Transportation is helping. 16 furnished rental homes for fire survivors are being built on 2 acres of land. So far, 4 temporary homes are ready. Rent is $17.50 per month and includes water and sewer, but families can get subsidies to offset the cost. More than 1,000 temporary units are being built through state and private partnerships.
And in honor of the anniversary of the devastating wildfires, White House Press Secretary Greene Jean-Pierre says that President Biden plans to speak with the governor of Hawaii and the mayor of Maui County
to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the tragic Maui wildfires and those who lost their lives. Highlight the progress that has been made to date and underscore the administration's continued support to ensure the long-term recovery of survivors and impacted communities.
The fire tore through the historic town of Lahaina. At least 102 people were killed. Some survivors were forced to jump into the ocean to escape. 12,000 people were displaced. It's one of the deadliest fires in modern American history. Parties in lawsuits seeking damages reached a $4 billion global settlement Friday.
All right, well, here's the view as you look outside. Kind of a quiet morning overall, especially when you consider what we have seen as of late in terms of very hot and humid mornings, ones with rain, or perhaps even going back to a couple weeks ago where we did have those storms. Now, we could see at least chance of a shower or two. In general, they will stay to our east, but I'm thinking anywhere, let's say, using 70 as a dividing line. So if you're east of 70, Sydney, Troy, Dayton, Lebanon area, anywhere east of that, Bellefontaine, Urbana, Springfield, Xenia, they're going to be more likely to see showers. But even still, probably a lot of us are going to stay dry today or see a not significant amount of rain. We are on the fringes of the moisture from Debbie, and basically I just wouldn't rule out a stray shower. That'll wrap up as we get into tonight. By tomorrow, we should all see some sunshine.
The anti-Semitism lawsuit against Harvard University is now moving forward. A federal judge in Boston gave the green light on Tuesday after finding the Ivy League school, quote, failed its Jewish students, end quote, in its handling of the pro-Palestinian protest. Despite this, the judge is dismissing the plaintiff's claim that Harvard directly discriminated against Jewish students. The university had hoped to dismiss the lawsuit outright, citing the actions it has since taken to address anti-Semitism on campus. In a statement this week, a spokesperson said the facts will prove the university acted fairly.
A handful of Delta passengers impacted by last month's global Microsoft outage are now suing the airline carrier. The class action lawsuit accuses the company of refusing to offer full refunds for the disruption. Thousands of flights were canceled across the country, and among them, Delta was hit the hardest. Although Delta CEO says that the company lost $500 million. The lawsuit comes as Delta, Microsoft, and CrowdStrike, the IT company at the center of the outage, continue to battle over who's to blame and who should pay.
Our time right now is 5:47. 3 of Taylor Swift's wildly popular Eras Tour concerts abroad have now been canceled. What we know about the suspects behind alleged planned terrorist attacks.
You're watching Your Day.
Arby's is full of choice.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
3 of Taylor Swift's concerts in Austria this week have been canceled over fears of a suspected terrorist attack. Yesterday's announcement comes just hours after police arrested 2 suspects for allegedly planning an attack on the pop star's Vienna shows, as well as other events nearby. The main suspect is a 19-year-old identified by police as an ISIS sympathizer who was radicalized online. In the last hour, the Associated Press reports authorities found chemical substances and technical devices at the house of that suspect. A second person was also arrested in the Austrian capital. The canceled shows are part of Swift's Eras Tour and were scheduled for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. All tickets will be refunded.
Today marks a dark anniversary, 50 years since President Richard Nixon resigned in the middle of his second term in one of the 20th century's most well-known political scandals. It came as a result of the Watergate scandal when thieves broke into the offices of the Democratic National Committee in Washington back in 1972. Secret tapes made by Nixon proved he tried to obstruct the FBI's investigation into the crime. After resigning, Nixon flashed his signature V hand gesture before boarding Marine One in what has become an iconic image. The symbol became synonymous with peace in the late 1960s, but to Nixon, the gesture held an older meaning left from World War II. Victory President Gerald Ford then took over and pardoned Nixon in 1974.
Our time now is 5:51. You're watching Your Day.
The road back to the postseason starts on
All right, here's the view, and it is the time of the year where we're starting to get to the point where it's 6 a.m. and there's no daylight yet. I know. Summer's coming to a close here, and I know some of the kids gearing up for back to school within the next week or two, but man, it just doesn't feel like the end of summer to me. Still watching the tropical storm Debbie as it continues. What it will do is throw some of its energy into our area, but I think a lot of it will end up falling just shy. So instead of being over, let's say, Dayton, it'll be a little bit further to the east. As for today, temperatures into the upper 80s. Do think we'll see a mix of sun and clouds, potentially a couple of showers across the east end of our area. The rest of the forecast, though, should be substantially cooler and drier after today. This is going to be a period where actually it's not summerish, it's more shoulder season, if you will. And what I mean by that is it's still plenty warm, we're just not going to have that deep-seated humidity. On the roads this morning, not seeing any major tie-ups or concerns, perhaps just some slow-moving traffic on eastbound 70 from basically the airport towards 75. May just be a slow-moving vehicle that is right now tripping our sensor.
Actor Steve Martin has declined to play the role of Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz on Saturday Night Live. Martin said he was approached about the possibility by the comedy show's creator, but turned it down. Martin said he's now a real impressionist. The 78-year-old actor said he would be struggling doing an impression of a politician on SNL during an election cycle. Martin has hosted the long-running late-night comedy sketch show over 15 times. SNL premieres for its 50th season on September 28th.
Rapper Nelly was arrested in a St. Louis area casino early yesterday morning. The 49-year-old, whose birth name is Cornell Haynes, was taken into custody on a previous traffic charge and alleged possession of ecstasy pills. The St. Louis native was booked at the Maryland Heights Police Department and charged with possession of a controlled substance. According to court records, the rapper's 2018 traffic charge stems from a failure to appear for no proof of insurance. An attorney for Haynes responded last night to say that the arrest was only for the old no proof of insurance charge. His attorney in a statement also claims the arresting officer did a search without probable cause and claimed to find alleged ecstasy.
The Indiana State Fair may be home to the cheesiest sculpture you'll ever see, literally. You are looking at nearly 2,000 pounds of yellow and white cheese that has been sculpted into a piece of art. It was unveiled yesterday in Indianapolis. The sculptors behind this dairy concoction are Nancy Baker and Sarah Kaufman, who is affectionately known as the Cheese Lady. Since the fair's theme is classic art, the women decided to sculpt two of the most famous paintings, American Gothic and the Mona Lisa. But as you can see, they added a little dairy twist. The sculpture will be on display until August 18th, the fair's last day. This is hilarious.
This is very cool.
Well, I mean, look, I hit on a lot of things. Every once in a while, you just have to laugh. Like American Gothic is the photo that everybody knows about, but to do it with cheese, that's the well done.
That's impressive.
I did kick y'all's butts in the butter challenge.
Maybe
so
we need to try a cheese challenge. That would be even more.
Way harder.
Yeah, I feel like that would be difficult.
Because you can't, I mean, cheese is a block. You can't really like mold it with your hands.
You have to just like shave it, I guess.
And it also the crumbles too.
Oh yeah. Cheese would definitely be harder.
All right, well.
We'll see.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Our time right now is 5:57. A man has been extradited back to Ohio and indicted on charges in a crash that killed 4 people. The lawsuit now being filed on behalf of one of the victims.
You're watching Your Day.
Join ABC 22 and Fox 45 for the
morning. I'm Alex King.
And I'm Elena Brown. Nathan is on vacation.
Living it up. And here are 3 quick stories to get your day started. Mark your calendars. Taco and Nacho Fest is coming to Austin Landing on Saturday, August 24th. Come out and enjoy delicious food, live music, and a fully stocked beer garden all day long.
I've honestly never heard anything better.
Yeah, seriously. There's going to be tequila samples, giveaways, fireworks at the end of the night, and it's free to attend. So
come on.
Go get you some tacos and nachos.
Yeah,
that sounds so good.
Yeah,
I could crush them both.
This should just be like a weekly thing or something.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. And say hello to the Boone Shop's newest animal ambassador. This is Ted, the Virginia possum. He is now almost 5 months old, and he went on his first dress rehearsal for museum staff last week.
And he is such a good boy. He is ready to go.
I think we just love any animal. It literally could be like a deranged, rabies-infested rodent.
If it's all furry, I'm loving it.
Literally.
Honestly, even if it's not furry, I'm still probably loving it.
He's adorbs.
He is.
Love
He's
him.
so cute. Possums are just,
they're really cute.
They're so precious. And cue the flannels and pumpkin spice lattes. Some Buckeye leaves were spotted changing at Carriage Hill Metro Park. So whether you are ready for fall or want to stay for the last bit of summer, there are all kinds of outdoor programs at our local parks that you can join in on.
I am
This guy is killing me. Midwesterners, when they see the first changing leaves of the season on an 80-degree August day.
I mean, yeah. I'm all for the flannel, the cool breeze, the leaves, not the pumpkin spice.
You're taking a live look over the Miami Valley thanks to Skycams. We're waking up to yet another warm start.
We are, Alex, but it may be the last hot day for a while. We're going to send things over to meteorologist Nick Maruziak with a look at the forecast.
Yeah, I mean, this goes from very much so summer to, well, I would say shoulder season. And the reason why is we still have enough heat outside that you'll be sweating if you're going to be running, but not enough humidity to make it feel unbearable. And today, probably the last truly hot and humid day that we have on the books. Dew points aren't awful as they were earlier on this week, but they're certainly up. They're in the mid-60s, which is not particularly that dry. Today we're aiming for the upper 80s, so we'll fall short of 90 degrees, but with the humidity tacked on, probably feels like 90. We'll call it generally sunny. West of 70 is going to be primarily a sunny day. Once you get east and over in towards Champaign, Clark counties, as well as also Greene and Clinton counties, there are likely to be more clouds and perhaps a shower. As for traffic this morning, that is moving smoothly thus far. No tie-ups or concerns at this stage.
A large police presence in the area of Little Richmond Road and Wolf Creek Pike in Trotwood last night. Montgomery County Dispatch tells us officers were in the area for several hours looking for a person connected to an incident that happened earlier yesterday. The roads there were shut down as police worked. We're working to learn more about this incident, and we'll update you on air and online.
The man you see here has been arrested after police say he trespassed at Springboro High School. 26-year-old Eli Hudkins, a former student, showed up at the district's central office despite being recently issued a letter of no trespass by the district in May due to erratic phone calls and behavior. He asked to speak with a staff member. That's when the district immediately locked down. The building called 911 and contacted school resource officers. That's when Hudkins left the central office and drove to the Educare building, where police arrested him. No one was hurt, and Hudkins never interacted with students. Now, taking a look at the Warren County Jail's website, you can see Hudkins is in custody. He's been charged with telecommunications harassment, criminal trespass, and obstructing official business. He'll be arraigned in court at 9 this morning. The district released a statement saying in part, quote, "Our administration is meeting with Chief Bentley, the Springboro Police Department, as well as the district crisis team to discuss further safety precautions going forward. Here at Springboro Schools, appreciate the willingness of our staff who immediately alerted the Springboro Police Department as well as necessary personnel to feel confident in following a see something, say something mentality. If you have any questions or concerns on this matter or about student safety, you can go to the district's the district student safety reporting website at springboro.com. Just click on the see something, say something in the top right corner.
This man has been indicted in April's deadly crash near Dayton International Airport. 26-year-old Clayton Hughes was extradited to Ohio from New Jersey and is now behind bars in the Montgomery County Jail. He's charged with 12 counts, including aggravated vehicular homicide, failure to stop after an accident, and OVI. The investigation found Hughes rear-ended a car on I-70 and drove away before hitting a van at the intersection of Terminal Road and Boeing Drive. All 4 people in that van were killed. Troopers say speed and alcohol were major factors in the crash and that Hughes was the at-fault driver. The wife of one of the 4 victims is now suing Hughes in a $10 million wrongful death lawsuit.
A Butler County man could spend life in prison after being accused of raping a child, and investigators are concerned there's more victims. 32-year-old Kyle Plummer was arrested on Monday on 2 counts of rape. Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones says the Tennessee Department of Children's Services told them Plummer may have sexually assaulted a 5-year-old family member. Investigators believe the abuse took place in both Butler County and Tennessee. Court documents say Plummer told the victim not to tell anyone and bribed her with a nicotine vape pen.
It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It's disgusting. And as you can tell, I'm very angry about it. This is not the end of the charges here, and this is not the end of the charges in Tennessee.
Sheriff Jones says investigators don't have evidence of more victims right now, but they're not ruling it out. Plummer is being held in the Butler County Jail on a $500,000 bond.
Our time right now is 6:06. Don't forget, you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather right here on the side of the screen all morning long, even during commercials.
Washington Township is now looking to grow the community, coming up the plans that are now in the works.
You're watching Your Day.
The road back to the postseason starts on
Well, it's time to do some weather where, we'll show you ZD coming up here in a bit. I want to hone in on this forecast because it is going to be in the mid-80s. Now, you compare that to yesterday, and we hit 82. It is, by and large, a cooler overall day, but in addition to the cool weather, we could see at least a chance of maybe a shower. Obviously, almost all of Debbie's main push of energy is well out to the west, southeast. But what you do get is every once in a while it'll get close enough that it could just send one or two of those showers into the Miami Valley. Better chances Columbus, certainly down in southeastern Ohio, but we are right on the fringes where maybe it's just going to be some clouds later on today. So again, today a day where we're going to be cooler. We'll probably be a touch drier this morning, although getting more humid, and eventually we will see some clouds. Meanwhile, on the roads this morning, so far we are relatively quiet. No problems on the interstates. It does look like traffic moving along okay. They have cleaned up the road work that was ongoing that was blocking a lane. Right for now, again, everything is moving smoothly as you head out the door.
Attorney General Dave Yost announcing Ohio's first ever statewide human trafficking hotline. This number will go live later this year. It's 844-END-OHHT. Yost says it will replace the national number and will send tips on suspected sex and labor trafficking directing to law enforcement. He says the human trafficking problem in Ohio has evolved from denial and ignorance to a battle on multiple fronts. Yost adds several victims of human trafficking are now taking leadership roles trying to end it.
Well, it's been pretty organic. A lot of these folks have been fighting since the early 2000s against human trafficking. And as word gets out, this happens in the shadows. This isn't happening, out in the sunshine. It's not part of, people don't have press conferences about it.
The announcement came yesterday as part of the 5th Annual Human Trafficking Summit in downtown Columbus. The hotline is expected to be launched after Labor Day. Washington Township is now looking to grow the community with plans to build 26 single-family homes on the corner of East Social Row and Gebhardt Road.
Kasha Hancock caught up with the township, and she joins us now with more about the development.
When I spoke to the township, they tell me each home will be averaging to about 5,000 square feet, and the entire development is approximately 70 acres. They tell me the idea came from a private developer who was actually constructing their own home on one of the lots, which is the first stage of the plan that has been approved, which changed the zoning from agricultural to residential. Now the private developer would like to have more homes built, but in order for the construction of the other 25 homes to take place, the developer must go through one more round of approval from the zoning commission. The township is on board, saying this development will be beneficial to the community.
The development of a hiker-biker trail connecting all the single-family homes, both in this development and across the street from Social Row to Oak Grove Park. I think so we're compounding both open space, pedestrian connectivity, as well as providing low-density development.
Now the township tells me it could be 2 to 3 months before the second half of the plan gets approved, and we'll be sure to keep you updated on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Our time right now is 6:13. Tropical storm Debbie has just made its second landfall in the U.S. Coming up, what officials are saying it may be on its way in its wake.
You're watching Your Day.
Take Dayton 24/7 Now News with
In just the last couple of hours, Tropical Storm Debbie has made its second landfall in the U.S., this time in South Carolina. It's set to unleash more torrential rains, tornadoes, and destructive flooding as it moves north, tracked to move into North Carolina by this evening.
Debbie hit Florida as a Category 1 hurricane Monday, killing at least 5 people and dumping more than a foot of rain over Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. The Biden administration has now deployed more than 700 FEMA staff members and federal partners to the southeast. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says that President Biden and his team are closely monitoring the storm.
FEMA's National Response Coordination Center here in Washington and their Regional Response Coordination Center in Atlanta remain activated to further support the local response and coordinate federal efforts.
Search and rescue teams and swift water rescue assets are also ready to help as needed. The White House says FEMA has delivered more than 1 million meals and nearly 1.5 million liters of water to Florida, with additional supplies on the way.
All right, well, you know, you look over where Debbie is right now and pummeling parts of North Carolina, Charlotte, Raleigh, Wilmington. So some of the bigger cities in North Carolina just absolutely getting deluged with rain. We could see the fringes, and I do mean truly the fringes of Debbie's moisture in our area. Basically, for the vast majority, it may be clouds at best, but there is still a chance of a couple of showers. In particular, I would say our eastern counties, southeastern at that, so Greene, Wilmington, and then as you start moving up towards Champaign, Clark County, as well as Logan County, it gets a little bit more difficult for us to see anything in terms of widespread rain. So again, this is going to be perhaps a couple of showers here or there, but many of us will stay dry. As we get into tonight, we'll also get a cold front. That'll almost like a baseball bat knock away Debbie and its moisture. And with it, we're actually going to turn not just cooler, but much drier as well. Today, none of those two apply. It is going to be pretty warm and humid. Temperatures mid to upper 80s and overnight lows in the 60s and upper 60s at that. Tomorrow, 5 degrees cooler. Will be even cooler for the weekend. Some of the mornings will be down in the upper 50s, maybe even mid 50s. So there's going to be a chill in the air. It's not quite at the point I would call it fall yet, but I would call it more shoulder season. It's still going to be mild enough that you can get outside in shorts and t-shirt. The difference is the humidity will be lacking. Not a bad thing either. On the roads this morning, not a bad thing, not a bad morning commute. We are right now moving pretty steadily out on the interstates.
Our time right now is 6:19. You're watching Your Day.
Sponsored by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for
All right, now it's time for Pet of the Day, and we're bringing back Zeddy here. Zeddy was sent in a little bit while ago, and we actually aired Zeddy. Obviously, Zeddy is not a cat, a dog, a snake, though, and snakes can make wonderful pets, and they also make wonderful pest control if you happen to see one outside. They're typically very much so, hey, you got any rodents I could have? So they're very useful if you live out in the country or things like that. That's my public service announcement about snakes. As for today, temperatures mid-70s, low 80s. So whether you're a fan of the warm temperatures or the humid conditions, today's going to be the last day that we really truly have both, because we're going to be mid to upper 80s with the heat and humidity factored in. Probably ends up feeling like 90 degrees. So not an awful day, a nice pool day for those kids that are counting down the days and weeks until they actually go back to school. Obviously, it's going to get to the point where it'll get fall soon enough, but right for now, we are still in the midst of what I would call summer, if not shoulder season. On the roads this morning, it has been relatively quiet. Does look like the camera on 70-75 probably zoomed in there on some sort of debris on a shoulder. So doesn't look like that's affecting things as of right now. Also have a vehicle pulled over on 35 by 835, but again, doesn't look like that's affecting traffic at this hour.
Reddit is still pretty new in reporting quarterly earnings as a publicly traded company, and second quarter revenue topped analyst estimates as the digital ad market improved. Online ad revenue climbed 41% from a year ago. Reddit says it's also getting a boost from data licensing revenue, which rose 691%. Well, just weeks after moving Twitter, or X, to Texas, Elon Musk is planning to ditch X's main office in San Francisco. Citing a staff memo obtained by Fortune, X CEO says that it would transfer the operations to new locations for its Bay Area employees, including an existing office in San Jose and Palo Alto. Well, high-flying tech stock Supermicro Computer says it split its stock 10-for-1. That means for each share someone owns, they now get 10 at the lower price. Supermicro is a server company that has soared due to demand from AI. And online data privacy is a bigger concern among Americans than you may think. A USA Today Blueprint survey reveals 84% of Americans are concerned about security and privacy of their personal data online, and 3/4 of respondents are concerned about the increasing use of AI in business. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King with your Tech Report.
The CDC now issuing an alert to doctors about a more severe strain of Mpox. That strain is currently spreading in Africa. According to health officials, the Democratic Republic of Congo has reported the most cases, but it has spread to some neighboring countries. The World Health Organization says an emergency committee will soon meet to determine if the outbreak should be declared a global public health emergency. The CDC says cases of the strain have only been reported outside of Central and Eastern Africa, and the risk that it will be brought to the U.S. is low.
A string of 13 straight months of new average heat records came to an end this past July. That's according to the European Climate Agency, Copernicus, which attributes the broken streak to El Nino weather patterns winding down. Still, the organization's deputy director warns temperatures in July were hotter than the 30-year average for the month. July also saw the planet's 2 hottest days ever documented. And at one point, roughly 1/3 of the U.S. population was under heat warnings. You're taking a look over the Miami Valley this morning. The sun is slowly coming up over here. You can tell the sky's looking clear.
Another day is starting.
It's looking nice out there.
It does. And Tage joins us now with a look at what's up next at the Freeze.
It is time for us to continue our series known as Up Next at the Freeze, which is sponsored by the Freeze Pavilion. The goal here is to give you all the details about concerts, events, and more coming to the Freeze over in Kettering. The first event we got to tell you about is Art on the Commons, presented by the Rosewood Art Center. It's back for its 36th annual time of the Fine Arts and Crafts Festival. The event starts at 11 a.m. and goes until 5. Check out art featured from over 100 artists from around the entire country. The event is free and open to the public. You can visit the Freeze website for more information. Up next, Crowder takes the stage with special guest Ann Wilson on August 12th, starting at 7:30 p.m. Enjoy a distinct style of blended folk, rock, and urban elements. Tickets are on sale now for varying prices. The Freeze website for more information is the place to go. And we also want to tell you about Get the Lead Out at an electrifying Led Zeppelin tribute show, a celebration of the mighty Zepp. Takes place on August 14th, starting at 8 p.m. Tickets on sale now for varying prices. Go to the phrase to start buying those tickets. And the last thing we tell you about is a good one. Enjoy hits from the 60s and 70s at the Happy Together Tour, featuring acts like the Turtles, Jay and the Americans, and so much more. This all happens on August 15th, starting at 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. You can go online for more information about any of the shows we've talked about today. That concludes this week's edition of Up Next at the Phrase. We'll have more for you next week.
Our time now is 6:28. Biden speaking with CBS for the first time since ending his bid for re-election. Coming up, what he fears if Donald Trump loses his bid for the White House.
But first, here's Julie Moran with America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
We're a family of athletes, and we all experience tightness and soreness in our muscles, and we're always looking for easy, safe solutions. And I love Pain Gone because it's so easy to apply. Look at that. You just peel it off. I'm going to put it on my forearm where I get tightness. Also, I get a lot of tightness in my shoulders, and it fits so comfortably and provides such relief. I also like that it has 3 different settings. There's soft pulses, strong pulses, or a combination of both. And there's also 12 intensity levels, so you find what works for you. And if you want to wear it under your clothing, sometimes I do, it's great because it's not big, it's not bulky, easy to conceal. And this is great for anyone who has aches and pains and sits at their desk all day. It's wireless, and it gives you relief with just the touch of a button. You get relief in just 15 minutes, and there's no limit to how often you can use it. These gel pads will last 2 to 3 months, and that's a great value. Now, normally you may have to take over-the-counter medicine, and you would have to wait hours to take another dose. This is the natural pain-free option that you need, and right now we're offering 30% off on Pain Gone. This is an amazing product. It's gonna sell out fast. Head to asadeals.com right now for this very, very exclusive offer.
Register now for Premier Health.
I'm Alex King.
And I'm Elena Brown. Nathan is on vacation.
And here are 3 quick stories to get your day started. After setting a European record in the 3,000-meter steeplechase at this year's Olympics in Paris, a French athlete rushed over to the stands and proposed to her longtime boyfriend. This is so
sweet.
I love it, and it is because we're starting to see this happen more often where women are proposing to the men. Obviously, she's the Olympic athlete, so it's really special, I feel like, that she took the time on such a big event for herself to take this step. It's
That's
so
very
cute.
sweet.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Olympics, former gold medalist Shawn Johnson is showing that she's still got it, sharing this video on TikTok of the perfect dismount under her couch, which I think we've all love
perfect.
Get into the couch
right
this way.
there under the blanket in the remote.
That honestly looks so cozy, though.
She's so itty bitty.
I know, she's tiny.
You can, like, even in videos, you can just tell how itty bitty she is. She's so cute. And Airbnb has built a life-size Polly Pocket house in honor of the doll's 35th birthday. This thing is so cool. The 2-story slumber party fun compact in Littleton, Massachusetts comes complete with Polly's replica wardrobe, vanity with accessories, and even 90s snacks for a slumber party dream come true.
I love this. Did you play with Polly Pockets?
Yes. I was a big Polly Pocket girl.
Same. Me, Polly Pockets, and Barbies were like this.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Those were our besties growing up, huh? Now we are taking a look at, let's see, the courthouse right now. Where weather is looking pretty nice right now. It's looking calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like it may cool down over the next couple days as well. Let's go ahead and send things over to meteorologist Nick Maruziak.
Calm's a good word for this morning because it's not particularly that hot nor that humid. We're frankly somewhere in between. I would say it's actually reasonably average morning for this time of year. It is off of yesterday's temperatures by about a half dozen degrees. We're in the mid-60s. Again, perfectly reasonable. Dew points have dropped into the mid-60s. There's still some humidity left over, and I do expect these to go up as we get into the second half of the day. So effectively, it'll be the last truly hot and humid day here for about a week. We'll call it generally sunny with the exception of the eastern edge of our area. As you go out to Columbus, we'll start to see rain chances increase ever so slightly as we are on the fringes of the moisture from our system, Debbie. As for tomorrow, it turns cooler, and we'll continue with that cooler and drier conditions this weekend. On the roads this morning, right now, things are moving pretty A-OK. One incident is now cropped up. It's over by Shoal Road and 201 Brant Pike.
CBS yesterday dropping snippets from President Joe Biden's first interview since ending his bid for re-election. In it, he says he's not confident that there will be a peaceful transfer of power should Donald Trump lose.
I'm not confident at all. He means what he says. We don't take him seriously. He means it. All the stuff about if we lose, there'll be a bloodbath.
Biden is referring to comments made at a Dayton campaign rally in March when the former president warned of a bloodbath if he fails to unseat Biden. At the time, Biden's campaign and other Democrats categorized the phrase as a call for violence. Meanwhile, Trump and his allies said that he was referring to an economic fallout. The full interview will air on CBS News this weekend.
Meanwhile, both vice presidential nominees are saying they want to debate. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz told supporters at a rally in Wisconsin yesterday he's excited to debate GOP VP nominee J.D. Vance, calling the Republican team weird. Senator Vance was also in Wisconsin yesterday and blasted Walz's record as a governor.
What I observed, and you've observed about these guys when you see them, that it's a very clear thing. Yes, they are creepy and weird as hell.
If there's a single issue around which I think Governor Walz has to answer when it comes to his record, this is a guy who says that he stands for public safety, but actively encouraged the rioters who burned down Minneapolis.
No date has been set yet for a vice presidential debate.
The White House now defending the Minnesota governor after the Democratic vice presidential nominee faced criticism from Senator J.D. Vance. Vance accuses Walz of dodging his military service and misleading the public about his military career. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says that she can't speak to any specific attacks, but overall Walls' record speaks for itself.
When Tim Walz was asked by his country to go to Iraq, you know what he did? He dropped out of the Army and allowed his unit to go without him.
This is someone who enlisted at 17 years old to serve his country. He was part of the Army National Guard for 24 years. This is someone who was a high school teacher, right? A high school coach as well.
Walz ended his 24-year military career to run for Congress in 2005. About 2 months before, the unit he led received an alert of orders to deploy to Iraq. Vance served 4 years in the Marine Corps. According to his military record, he deployed once to Iraq for about 6 months.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris and her newly minted running mate rounding out a Midwest campaign swing yesterday with a rally in Michigan. The visit comes amid growing support for the Democratic ticket, with Harris's campaign raking in more than $36 million in donations since announcing Walz as her running mate. Despite this, Harris is still battling pushback over the Biden administration's handling of the war in Gaza. Here's her response to a group of protesters yelling genocide during her speech.
He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Michigan is home to one of the nation's largest Arab American communities, and frustrations over Biden's support for Israel prompted some 100,000 people there to vote uncommitted against the president during the state's Democratic primary this year.
Our time now is 6:39. Don't forget, you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
And your weather on the side of the screen all morning long, even during commercials.
Today in Grant Me Hope, we introduce you to a 17-year-old who loves poetry. Just ahead, why Jazz wants to be an oncologist and what she's looking for in a family.
You're watching Your Day.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Debbie's downpours continued in the Myrtle Beach area Wednesday. Tropical storm rainfall caused this pond to run over, and this hummingbird braved the weather to get a treat. Here's lightning that was captured near Cincinnati Tuesday night, and this deer cooled off with a swim in Alabama's Lake Martin Wednesday morning.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
At any given time, there are more than 600 children in foster care here in Montgomery County. The goal is always to reunite those children with their families, but the sad truth is some of those kids can never go back home, and now they're up for adoption.
Dayton 24/7 Now has teamed up with Grant Me Hope to help. And this morning, we want to introduce you to Jazz, who's right now looking for a family.
Hi, I'm Jazz. I'm 17 and I'm in the 11th grade. I really just like hanging out with my friends, like just going out, going shopping, or just being around them, like a positive environment. Oh, I love shoes. I'm a big sneakerhead. Clothes, jewelry. I write poems in my free time. I'm in a poem book, and it comes out this month. Really, what I write about in my poems is like my past, or like how I feel about things. The one that's published is called Running. So it's basically like me running from my past and trying to forget it instead of confronting it and actually processing through it. I also write songs. School's going really good, even though 11th grade is really hard. I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to my grades, so if it's lower than an A, it like stresses me out. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a scientist. I wanted to help people or animals. I wanted to go to college to be either an oncologist, which is a cancer doctor, or a biochemist. I want to find better medicine alternatives to treating cancer. I really just want to help people that need help. When I get a little bit older, I want to go back to school to be a veterinarian to help animals, because I just have a big passion for animals. Family's very important to me. So I definitely think like having older or even younger siblings. I love having siblings. I could either have just a mom or just a dad. Like just being somewhere where I feel safe, and feel like where I can come to people and talk about my day without feeling like I'll be judged. I love having family dinner. I just love it when we all come together and just talk about our days and just practice gratitude together. I feel like I definitely would like to have a mom, at least a mother figure, because growing up I really didn't have that, so I need help learning how to become a young woman into an adult. I don't know, just being there and supporting me through my decisions. Even if it's bad, I want someone to be honest with me.
You can find out more about Jazz and other children who are up for adoption right now on Dayton247now.com. Just click the Grant Me Hope tab under your day.
Every week, we're going to feature another child in our Dayton 24/7 Now Grant Me Hope profiles.
Our time right now is 6:45. You're watching Your Day.
Watch the Bengals take on Tampa Bay Saturday.
Well, blue sky abound, maybe some gray out there. I'd be really curious to see as we get into the heart of the day exactly how much gray we end up seeing across the greater Dayton area. Of course, it may vary, so Dayton and points east will be a little bit more cloudy. Once you get out towards Eaton, Greenville, Richmond, probably almost entirely sunshine. Why? Because we're having this surge of, I would say, tropical air. Don't forget, we've got Debbie spinning off the coast, or now actually in North Carolina. With it, we'll be on the fringes of moisture. What that means for us is temperatures should be able to climb into the mid to upper 80s. The best moisture will be out to the west, but we could see a couple of showers or even a thunder boomer or two across Urbana down towards Wilmington is probably your best overall chance. That'll come to a close overnight. As we get into tomorrow, more sunshine. However, it is going to also be cooler and drier, and I think that's the big storyline of not just tomorrow, but actually the weekend as a whole. Temperatures upper 70s Saturday and Sunday. Some of us may not get out of the mid 70s, and probably the biggest impact is going to be the mornings. Instead of being in the 60s and 70s, it'll be in the 50s and maybe even mid 50s. On the roads this morning, so far it's a quiet morning commute. No types or concerns at this hour. Just a pulled over semi over at 70 and 75.
All right, and we are waking up to another beautiful day. We've had a little bit of a, yesterday I was outside actually playing with the dogs and I got a little bit of a chill.
Yeah, really?
Anything below 90 is a chill for Alex.
Why do you think I put up the Alex seal of approval for today? It's the last hot and humid day, at least for this week. We're pointing out next week probably back to its summertime pattern. Chill down. We'll get to fall. You'll get your cool weather.
Right.
It's going to be 65 by September 1st.
It's going to be miserable soon enough.
I'm going to play this card. You know what I like about Nathan? Nathan never complains. It's 90 degrees. He's like, I'll just sweat. It's 0 degrees. He's like, I'm just being cold.
He definitely prefers colder weather, but...
You would if you had that much hair on you, too.
You see all this hair on my head? All right, our time right now is 6:52. A man has been extradited back to Ohio and indicted on charges in a crash that killed 4 people. The lawsuit now being filed on behalf of one of the victims.
You're watching Your Day.
Sponsored by the Birth Injury Lawyers at
A large police presence in the area of Little Richmond Road and Wolf Creek Pike and Trotwood last night. Montgomery County Dispatch tells us that officers were in the area for several hours looking for a person connected to an incident that happened earlier yesterday. The roads there were shut down as police were working to learn more about this incident. We'll update you on air and online.
The man you see here was arrested yesterday after police say he trespassed at Springboro High School. 26-year-old Eli Hudkins, a former student, showed up at the district's central office despite being recently issued a letter of no trespass by the district.